And to begin with that story from the Kenya National Union of Teachers, which has given the government until midnight on Wednesday this week to initiate what it terms as constructive dialogue. Now, the union says it will close the window for dialogue on Thursday morning and focus on its strike threat if the government fails to call for meaningful dialogue. The union last month gave a 21-day strike notice over negotiations for fresh salaries, allowances, and review of job grades for school heads.
Some people talking about intimidation. We are not intimidating anybody. It is real and real and real and real. And we said it. Indeed, we were invited for a meeting last Friday. But in its usual mischievous, abunwasi ways of confusing teachers, the government designed a strategy to derail the negotiations using their usual puppets, the puppets they've used over the years to divide and rule teachers.
Turkana Senator John Munyes has been airlifted to a Nairobi hospital to undergo an operation to remove a bullet that is lodged in his lower abdomen. Now, he was accidentally shot and injured by one of his bodyguards as he was removing bullets from a hand pistol. Ian Wafula is currently at Nairobi Hospital and he has the full details for us. Ian, we do understand that he's currently being operated. Is that correct?
No, actually, he just got here around 3 minutes ago, and so we are standing right outside the emergency center where he's just been taken in right now. It is urgent that he undergoes his operation today because the bullet is still lodged in his leg, and as soon as he landed at the Wilson Airport, you could see that he's really struggling, and you could see the pain on his face. But the people who were with there assured us that he's going to be fine. We're yet to get any medical update, and so we are camping here at the Nairobi Hospital as the Senate Speaker, Kreigler, is expected to give us an update and tell us exactly what transpired. But what we do know exactly is that Munyes was on his way from Lodwar, where he was on a peace mission, and it is when the bodyguard accidentally shot him. We're still not sure what actions will be taken against the bodyguard. We're still not sure whether the bodyguard is in Nairobi or still in Lodwar. But what we also know is that he was immediately transferred to the Lodwar District Hospital, but because of poor facilities, he had to be airlifted here in Nairobi. And that is what we do have for now, Edith.
Well, Ian, I know you did say that you're still waiting for official updates from Kreigler, but have you gotten any medical prognosis at this point? Is he stable? Is he in critical condition? What's his current status?
Well, if I can, we haven't gotten any official communication from the hospital, but I could tell that just from the look on his face, he was kind of feeling pain, and this is just from what you could see. We're still waiting from an update from the hospital.
And as you mentioned earlier, you still have not received any finer details of what happened, but just take us through the official story at the moment.
The official story is that John Munyes and his entourage were leaving Kipsis, that is in Lodwar, and they were heading back home when accidentally the bodyguard, I think as he was uncocking his gun, he accidentally shot Munyes. And so that was yesterday, and so he was immediately transferred here for better treatment.
All right. Thank you very much, Ian Wafula. He's currently at Nairobi Hospital, where Turkana Senator John Munyes has been admitted with a bullet lodged in his lower abdomen after his bodyguard accidentally shot him. We'll have more details of this in our subsequent bulletins. Former South African Judge Johann Kreigler says last year's general election was driven by tribal interests as opposed to political ideologies. Now, Kreigler, who is attending IEBC's workshop to evaluate the 2013 elections, accused political parties of ignoring Kenya's interests during the poll. The former Court of Appeal judge says IEBC should be criticized for the outcome of the election. In 2008, Kreigler led a commission recommending reforms to Kenya's electoral process following the 2007 post-election violence.
The IEBC conducted the first 6 general elections under the new constitution on 4th of March 2013. A total of 1,882 elective positions were contested by 12,776 candidates. There were over 180 election petitions challenging the elections of the results of various positions. Out of these 180 petitions, 165 were dismissed by the courts, and 25 were fully heard by the election courts.
The prevalence of political parties being vehicles for strong men running their politics along ethnic lines is as prevalent now as it was in 2007 when it took you Kenyans to the edge of the precipice. It still has that potential. You still run your elections on tribal associations between leaders and not on programs of principles. And in the result, excuse my frankness, your political parties are no more than sham stalking horses for political leaders to pursue their ambitions. Is there anybody here, let me just test my prejudice. Is there anybody here who can identify for me the 5 main differences between the program of principles of the front runner and the second runner in the last presidential election? What separated the two?
Very strong statements from Kreigler, which I'm sure will no doubt attract quite a bit of criticism. Let's take a step back, however, to that story of Turkana Senator John Munyes. As we said, he has been airlifted to Nairobi Hospital, where he's scheduled to undergo an operation to remove a bullet that is lodged in his lower abdomen. Remember, he was accidentally shot and injured by one of his bodyguards as he was removing bullets from a hand pistol. The pictures you're seeing on your screen from last evening. Munyes was traveling to Lodwar after he attended a peace meeting that was held in Ethiopia. And according to Ian Wafula, who we just spoke to, he was rushed to Lodwar District Hospital for treatment. But according to the Turkana medical officer there, the senator was stabilized with fluids. However, they were unable to remove the bullet that was lodged in his lower abdomen because Lodwar District Hospital does not have the facilities required to be able to remove the bullet.
Senator alikuwa anaongea na mheshimiwa Nakuleu. Alafu moja ya bodyguards alikuwa na check bunduki yake kama kutoa risasi. And then kwa bahati mbaya ikapiga senator. So wakati ali scream kupiga kelele, sisi sasa ndo tukaingilia ndani kuuliza what has happened.
And what we've done in the hospital, we resuscitated, we just put him on fluids. We took, we did the basic for any patient who comes undergoing a gunshot injury. We've done the investigations, which our department, the X-ray department, were available, and the bullet is still in situ.
Elsewhere, illegal occupants and trespassers continue to carry out developments on 50 acres of land situated off North Road, Embakasi. In spite of a restraining court injunction, now the land administrator Benson Ritho Mureithi sought the injunction 2 years ago. Mureithi is the sole surviving administrator of the estate of the late Joseph Maingi Mureithi. He had been directed by the court to undertake a subdivision of the estate to name beneficiaries. He claims that he entrusted the subdivision to a surveying company that defrauded him in 2008. 5 acres of the land was to be surrendered to the government as public utility land for schools. He further claims that part of the land was transferred to unknown persons without his consent and authority. The accused surveying company also failed to make the required payments to the Kenya Revenue Authority. The National Lands Commission formally cancelled the subdivision of the land in 2012.
Hawajakubali kabisa kuachana na hii shamba ya umma. So I could request the central government and even the county government and all leaders in Embakasi of goodwill to come to my aid. We make sure hata hizi majumba zimejengwa illegally zimetolewa.
Property of unknown value was last night destroyed by fire that gutted down Naivas supermarket in Utawala area of Embakasi, which is right here in the capital. 5 fire engines fought hard to contain the huge fire that broke out at around 10 p.m. Sunday evening. The engines from Kenya Airports Authority, G4S and City Council battled to stop the raging fire from spreading to a petrol station adjacent to the building. The cause of the fire still remains unknown, although police say investigations will be undertaken to ascertain the cause of the fire.
Damage kubwa imefanyika kama kungekuwa na watu kuchelewa, lakini the firefighters were here in good time and they have contained the fire. Though they don't have any access to the inside, that is why you can see there are a lot of frames. They are only containing it from outside, and it could have been more dangerous if the power caught up with the petrol station.
Don't know the cause of the fire as per now, because it happened over at that corner. So we wait for the expert to come so that we can know what was the cause of the fire.
Let's have a look at the business now. And power producer KNUT is in talks with investors over the construction of an industrial park in the geothermal rich Career region. With over 1,200 acres of land available, KNUT is hoping to attract manufacturers in the region with the promise of accessing cheaper power. Geothermal power is a relatively cheap source of power compared to hydro and thermal plants, and KNUT is using this to woo investors. Already, both local and foreign investors have expressed interest, with the Hong Kong-based cotton mill having shown great interest. The power producer is targeting businesses in the agricultural, ICT and manufacturing sectors to set up in the park. And this is where we wrap up KTN Newsdesk. Thank you for your company. Did you know British naval fleets have blasted Britney Spears' music in order to scare off Somali pirates? I'm pretty sure your day cannot be that terrible after that did you know fact. My name is Edith Kimani. Good afternoon.